Okay, we have this engineering part over here, and it's going to sit in a mold fixture. So this is an I-beam that sits inside this mold fixture. It's an example we do for our composites class here at the AmTech. And they're going to create a composite I-beam, and they use this mold fixture here. So we're going to make a mold fixture just like this one. It has two plates on the top, and then I'll get you in a couple of shots here. You got two square tubes in the center, and the I-beam is laid up inside there. They lay it up, they put the resin in there, and then they bake it so it hardens up, and then you'll have I-beam. So this is a fixture that forms out. So you have two heavy steel plates on the top and bottom, and then the two C channels on either side, and then you have the two rectangular square tubes on the inside, and they bolt it all up and bake that, and that's how you get your I-beam. So I'm just throwing some pictures around just so you can get a kind of idea what it looks like from different angles. So the plate is what we're going to build on the top. I'm not going to do the slots, I'm just going to do the plate portion. And then the square tubes. Okay, and then you got these fasteners. So this is what it looks like when you tear it all apart. All right, and so in class, you're going to have to get this part. We're going to reverse engineer this part. You're going to create sketches and lay them out, dimension them up so that you can make your part. So the part we're going to start with is just the plate itself. So we're going to go back to the CATIA model and reference all the plates. So this is front and back of the I-beam, or the two ends of the I-beam, and then one of the plate surfaces will touch the top of the I-beam. Okay, so if you look at your CATIA model, the top of the plate touches that surface, and then we need to control this side, how much the plate's going to be on off there, and then off of here, and then also how much longer do we want the plates from this surface and this surface over here. Okay, so the plates for the top tool plate, we need the surface that represents the top. So that would be this water line here. Sorry, top of the beam, water line 51.5. And then we would need left buttock line and right buttock line, those two planes. Okay, and I'm just going to make them easy to see. So we're going to want this one, this plane here on top, the buttock line planes that represent either end, and the planes that represent the stations over here, and this plane over here. We want all of those, and we're going to bring that into the top plate. Okay, so there's your top plate. Planes we need to put down in here. So again, I made a part. Okay, and if you forgot that, I'll do it when I'll do the bottom plate as well. I'm going to click on this. No, we're in the product structure right now in the top. I'm going to double click this to get into that part. So it should say part design. And then I don't want to take any of these external references, so I'm going to hide them so I don't accidentally grab them. So as you recall, we want these two and the top of this, the water line, and the forward and aft stations. Oh, and there's your forward aft. That's for your thickness. That's for this thickness of the I-beam. It really doesn't apply. I'm just working off the plate on the top, okay? So we're going to copy that, go into this, and double click on this one here to get the hourglass to show up. Paste special with results. I have those in my external references now, right? Now what I'm going to do is create properties, periphery, top plate. Dang it, I renamed that on accident. Back to, can I hit undo? Okay, I hit undo. Make sure that you're paying, I always do that, forget to switch this back and change the geometrical set. So I-beam periphery, no, not I-beam periphery, top plate periphery, where are you? I might have to type it. So just type in top plate periphery. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I want that plate to be a bit bigger. All right. I don't want it to come right up to the trim. So I'm going to offset each one of these. So I'll make it, for this example, on the station I'll go 3 inches bigger. How big is this thing? Now, we can always change it. So let's do this. Make sure the geometrical set is your in-work object. It should be underlined, not just highlighted, underlined. And we're going to go to plane. If you can't find plane, you could always switch to 3D. Wireframe generating surfaces, and it would be under the wireframe tab. And there's my plane. I'm going to do several of these planes, so I'm just going to double click it to keep it active. Off of the station in the back, see it's going the wrong direction, so I can reverse it, or I could grab this plane since it's already going the right way, and then we're going to go off 3 inches. Okay. And then this plane number 7 is going to go off of this one, the same one, but reverse the direction. So, okay. And then over here, we want to do this right buttock line. We'll just go an inch. And this left buttock line, I'd like to do the same ones at the same time for stations, buttock line, water line. So the values, all I got to do is reverse them and select OK. All right. Now, these are the planes that are going to represent the periphery of the top of the plate. And if the I-beam changes, the top of the plate is just automatically going to change with it to maintain the distance to be always 1 inch greater in the buttock line and 3 inches greater in the station cuts. Okay? So, real good idea to rename them. What I would do is name that one aft waterline, right? So whatever you got to do to make it easy for other people to work with, I'm going to right-click properties. This one, remember, this one going this direction, the further this positive actually go, the further in the back of the boat or the plane you're going. So this water line, or this is going to be aft station. Forward station. I can't see which one I grabbed. Maybe it's over here. This plane here, that's going to be right buttock line. I don't really care where, because if they change the I-beam, it's just going to go wherever it is. You could say 1 inch, 3 inches, 3 inches, just to let everyone know how much further you've gone. In fact, I'll probably do that. LBL, all caps, LBL, left buttock line, 1.0, letting people know I went 1 inch past the I-beam. And we'll change this 1.0. I'm going to change this to 3.0. And I'm going to change this to 3.0. Alright, so here's your parts. There's those planes. I'm going to do a plane off the top here at distance of 0. Properties. Top I-beam. It just lets people know, hey, what are all these planes? What are we working with here to get that plate? I could just use this one, but maybe somebody else is going to take my model. It's nice to have everything all in one spot for them. Okay, so on this top of that plate, I want to create a sketch. Okay, so again, you can highlight that and hit the sketch icon, and then just say OK to that. Or you could have picked the plane and got that sketch to come in. Do you remember the trick I used to make the periphery? Sketch. We're going to intersect 3D elements. And remember, the key was I picked all those elements that represent the boundary of the periphery first. And then I go to intersect. And then you get this pop-up window, projection definition. What happened? Did I not? Oh, I switched on accident. Intersect project is what I'm looking for. You want to grab all of these first. Sorry about that. Don't grab the top of the I-beam because that's what we got to intersect too. And then make sure you get intersect. Could have sworn I grabbed that. I'm going to grab intersect. Click on this one here and grab the top I-beam and say OK. And there you got your profile. And then I like to just go right to the trim command. Select what you want to keep. Select what you want to keep. I accidentally clicked instead of grabbing a line, so it just trimmed it right. I saw it didn't have a gap. I'm just going to verify it's closed, so I know it's good. And it's yellow. It's all constrained. There's no constraints you have to make because we are doing relational design. We're creating it in relationship to whatever the I-beam is. So I exit out. And switch back to part design. And then go to model and find the pad feature. Darn it, I forgot to put that in the part body. I'll just make it a 1/4 inch thick. Pretty thick plate, but it's a little easier for us to see. I'm going to fix a tree like nobody saw that and put the sketch in the part body where it belongs underneath my pad. And there is a plate on the top. Now, it gets really confusing if everything's the same color. So, let's right click properties. Did I get that right? Color. No, wait. This pad, I want to right click, properties. Let's change it to bright green, see how that looks. No, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, I gotta do the part bodies. Son of a gun. I'm gonna undo what I just did. That back to black. I meant to grab the part body and change that color. Let's try bright green. So apply. I see a problem here. Did I go in the right direction? Why is that not turning green? I'm going to double click on this to make sure I got in there. I wasn't in this part yet. Click on the part body, properties. Change the color to green. I'm going to put the edges back to black. So I grabbed, did I grab the top? Waterline 51.5. Oh no. See, I wasn't paying attention. I should have been grabbing waterline 51.5 top. This one was telling me the thickness. Right? What I did. Yeah, I grabbed the one that said thick. Doggone it. I guess I get to try and show you how to fix a mistake you made. I mean, I guess you can see, oh, if you would have just grabbed all of them, then I wouldn't have to deal with this, but we're in product structure right now, so I'm going to double click on this to get back to the part design. Make sure to grab the top of the beam, not the one that was the thickness. Okay. Right click, copy. I'm going to double click on this one. Right click, paste special with links. So added it there. There's the one I don't want. But don't just delete that right now, because you know what? It's got a link. That's a problem. Once you start doing all this relational design, you can't just go willy-nilly deleting things. This one here is wrong. So I'm going to double click this. See how it even tells me right here, top of the beam thick right there. I wasn't paying attention though, so I'm paying a price for it. All I got to do is click on that though and replace it with the right one I wanted. And I'll select OK. So the top beam is on the top now. And you can see it's fixed. You know what I should have done? Undo. I undid that. I put it back. What I want you guys to do is get in the habit of going up to the very top collector when you're done, which could be there, or even just to the P1. Double click on that so you're in that product structure for the P1. And I do believe I have to switch this to assembly. So remember, if you're not in assembly or product structure, you got to switch it here in 3D. Okay, so now that I'm in the assembly, under tools, how do I see it? Oh my God, I'm looking for the clash. I don't want to see the clash. Oh, assembly tab here at the end, you have that interference simulation. And I hit OK. And it's taking a while, I think, because these two parts are clashing. See, it says clash. If it's telling us clash, it means that they're touching and they're interfering, right? And you can see I definitely am interfering because I had it to the wrong plane. So again, how I fixed that was I published it back into this one. Or I took the published element and I copy paste specialed into this. And then I changed the top beam. So I double click on it to get in it once. I double click on it again to modify it, and I change it. Instead of being this beam that was off the thickness, I'm going to use the beam that actually represents the very top. And you see that part shift when I select OK. That's done. And then I can go back and double click part 1. So I'm back to the assembly and do an interference check. And it tells me that they're contacting. And it highlights the parts that are contacting. Okay, so it lets me know those are touching, and that's exactly what I would want. So we're good to go there. And then what you would do is you would make the bottom plate. Now you might intuitively think, okay, I'm just going to come here, right click, insert, part, product, insert 3D part, but that would be wrong. So the previous exercise we did a fixture where everything was fastened together. And when you take the engineering part out, it's all still together. When you take this engineering part out, every individual piece that's separate is its own piece. So now instead of a P1, or just a P1, we're going to come back to the tool, click on the tool, double click on the tool to get into it, right click, insert, product. Properties. And then I'm going to hit the up arrow and hope it's somewhere nearby. Okay. And then the instance for this one is number 2. Then you can go to insert, parts. There's your part. And then we got to rename this. So in this one, it's an instant already. So this one I would call bottom plate. Whoops. And then rename the reference. Why is it there? I can't pin that up there. Looking it would be there. There, that's it. That's the part number, right? So for part 2, we would come back up to the RLM, and we would copy those same planes. R line, RBL, LBL, your forward and aft, not the T1 for thickness. We're copying out of the RLM this bar line 48, which would be the bottom. Your RBL and LBL. And the 2 station cuts for your forward and aft. See if you can build the bottom plate without me. I'll go make another video on how to do that, how to continue on. But this would be a good challenge to see if you can make that bottom plate.